A date with Eshop garbage. The Switch eShop is kind of a mess. You can't browse for 2 seconds without running into shovelware, low-effort ports, and overpriced mobile games. And there are barely any options to filter out the good from the bad. The featured page is full of well-known titles that don't need the spotlight, the great deals page is mostly being used to bring bad stuff back into view, and the coming soon page only exists to make me sad. At this point, it's almost like a candy jar full of broken glass. There is some good to be found, but is it really worth the risk? Just to prove my point, here are some examples of the quality products I encountered after a few minutes of searching. But maybe I shouldn't judge a game by its cover. So to be fair, I downloaded a bunch of demos to try out myself, probably giving my Switch a horrible disease in the process. You're welcome. Odds are one of these has to be good, right? First on the list is Instant Tennis, which kinda sounds like a sports drink flavored with sweat and short shorts. The demo lets us choose from 2 highly captivating characters. There's Sarah, best known for her sassy attitude and incredibly dirty feet. Then there's Jim. He's got dandruff. I decided to go with Sarah because I don't like what Jim is doing with his eyebrows. After playing the game for a whopping 5 minutes, I found the controls to be kinda janky. Your character automatically shuffles towards the ball, so all you have to do is swing the Joy-Con when it gets close. Instead of using motion controls to aim shots left and right, which would make sense, it's entirely dependent on timing. That's how Wii Sports works, so you'd think it'd be fine here too. But the game goes into slow motion every single time the ball gets close to allow time for aiming, which gets old pretty fast. It also makes the game too easy by giving you a huge time frame to swing. Since missing the ball is unlikely, winning a match is entirely based on lowering your opponent's stamina meter by hitting the ball as far away from them as possible. There isn't really anything to think about beyond that. Just hit the ball wherever your opponent isn't, throwing any strategy or mind games out the window. It's possible that using button controls could offer more freedom in playstyle, but for some reason the devs decided to lock all other control schemes out of the demo, meaning this game goes in the furnace.
D-.
Now here's a game that needs no introduction, because it already has one.
Welcome to Fun Animal Park!
I think this could be fun, but fun? We'll see about that. If you were paying close attention, you may have noticed the lion and rabbit on screen. Don't worry if you missed it, because they'll keep reminding you that they exist by never giving you another moment of silence for the rest of your life. They talk when you turn the game on, they talk when you move to a new menu, and they even talk if you don't select an option quick enough.
Still not ready?
I know there's only one option on screen, but I'm thinking about it. If you wait a little longer, you get to hear even more funny banter. And by funny banter, I mean Miss Rabbit starts savagely assaulting Mr. Lion's lifestyle choices.
You know, maybe your impatience is the reason you're not more popular. Binge eater, an oversleeper, telltale signs of one with too much time on their hands.
Someone should probably remind her where she stands on the food chain before this turns into fun animal homicide. Anyway, you're probably wondering what you actually do in this game. I know I am. Turns out it's just an animal-themed minigame collection. You play a game and then the winner gets to spin a wheel deciding how many medals they get awarded. Whoever has more medals after all the games are done becomes Animal King or something. Only problem is the game doesn't let you play against a computer opponent. It's real people or nothing at all. Since my friends went out to get milk 3 years ago and never came back, I had to pit my left hand against my right hand in a battle that will be passed down in song for generations to come. The demo only has 3 mini-games to play. The first one is called Penguin Panic Finish. Can you tell this game is Japanese yet? The goal is to shake the controller to speed up your penguin just enough to land on the scoreboard at the end of the track. Overdo it and you'll be sending your penguin to their watery grave. As far as mini-games go, this is pretty standard stuff, but it's definitely my favorite of the 3 that I played. On the flip side, this owl game isn't so good. You're supposed to flick the controller in whichever direction the owl looks, but half the time it either detects the wrong direction or no input at all. I'll never want to play this one again. The third and final game has you throwing rings on meerkats as they pop out of the ground, whether they like it or not. Does it work? Mostly. Is it fun? A little? After tallying up all the medals, my right hand took its rightful place as the superior hand, while the other was left in the dust. I can't say the demo convinced me that Fun Animal Park is actually fun. Even Fun Animal Park might be too far. Maybe FU Animal Park would have been more appropriate. Since it's only $30, you could probably justify it as a cheaper, less fleshed out alternative to Mario Party. But in Mario Party, you don't have to deal with these guys.
Call us and we shall appear!
It's time!
C.
Next up, we're going to try the demo for drowning. Remember, if you want to fully experience drowning, you need to buy the game. This is what the kids refer to as a walking simulator. You walk along this path while little bits of story are typed out as you travel. When your game only consists of walking and reading, you would expect that one of those elements is compelling in some way, but I guess miracles do happen. Imagine reading a short story, but every sentence is written on a separate sticky note, and then those sticky notes were placed 20 feet apart down a never-ending hallway. That's what you're getting here. Unfortunately, the story isn't even enjoyable enough to make up for the hassle of reading it. The writing is extremely bare bones, with all interesting or descriptive details left out. You learn about a nondescript boy and a quiet girl, and that boy likes girl. But girl changes over summer vacation and becomes mean? Then my demo ended. That's it. There's no sense of what these characters look like or act like, or even what their setting is besides school. This could take place in 2090 on a giant robot elephant, and I wouldn't know about it. Here's a perfect example. The author brings up being afraid to fly overseas for vacation, and then in the next sentence talks about being over it. Wow, what a struggle. And apparently on this trip he did fun stuff with family and then left. So to summarize, he flew to place and did stuff. It's all coming together. Needless to say, I'm gonna have to pass on drowning, as fun as it seems. But if you ever want to learn how long 15 minutes can feel, I suggest picking up this demo and trying it yourself.
F.
Have you ever wanted to put together a jigsaw puzzle but are outraged that it just sits there doing nothing? Well, have I got a game for you. Animated jigsaw puzzles, beautiful Japanese scenery. I don't really know what I expected when I downloaded this. The entire game can be described by the title. If you enjoy putting together puzzles, you'll probably like this. The main difference being that instead of a picture, you're assembling an animated GIF. And yes, that's GIF, not GIF. Dorks. Even though this isn't my kind of game, I had an okay time with the demo. Because it supports up to 4 players, I can see this being kind of fun to pick up and play for quick sessions of puzzle action. One weird thing I noticed is that you can't rotate the pieces, which might upset more hardcore players. Personally, I think it's more relaxing this way. My main complaint is that the one music track that plays during puzzles is extremely short and repetitive. Other than that, it's an inoffensive game that probably has an audience somewhere. The best part is that when you finish a puzzle, you can frame your Switch and hang it on the wall for everyone to see. Until the battery runs out.
C+.
This next demo is for Woodle Tree Adventures. To the untrained eye, that would seem like a normal title, but upon further inspection, there is actually an intricately constructed amalgamation of the words wood and little. You play as this brown cylinder who was born 10 seconds ago, but that doesn't stop your tree dad from sending you out on a grand adventure in search of fairy tears. Why are the fairies crying? You'll never find out. This game is a semi-linear 3D platformer in a similar vein to Super Mario 3D World, but instead of Mario, you get this. It's your standard platformer setup. Jump on things, collect floating objects, find more important floating objects, and hit people with a leaf. Right at the start of the level, I encountered this guy. Look at him dance. Seems pretty harmless, right? Nope. He will end you without a second thought. So after that, I assumed if this little guy was an enemy, everything must be out to get me. Well, that's also wrong, because not 2 minutes later, my moral code was being questioned by a walking loaf of bread. Where do I draw the line? That aside, this game has a lot of other problems. The controls are too floaty, attacks have no sense of impact, and level design seems to have little reason behind it. After waddling my way through the demo level, I didn't feel the need to see any more. It's perfectly functional, but there isn't anything that draws me to this game over the dozens of other platformers already available on Switch. But I guess that's expected from a port of a $3 Steam game made in 2014.
D.
Next, I try to play this game called Jacob Jazz's Baobab Mausoleum. Baobab? Baobab? I've never heard of it before and it looked interesting. However, right at the start I encountered this sign telling me to press the interaction button. This might just mean I'm stupid, but I pressed every button on the controller and nothing worked. I even tried all the buttons on my PS4 controller and this shirt just in case. So unfortunately I'm gonna have to skip over this one.
Q+.
Now it's time for something really special. Feast your eyes. This is Toy Stunt Bike Tip Top's Trials. It's one of those physics-based motorcycle games, only now it takes place in a house and there are 99% more monkeys involved. Some people might be thinking, hey, isn't that just a ripoff of Diddy Kong? But that couldn't be further from the truth. Tip Top has a top hat, and Diddy Kong has a baseball cap. Completely different characters. I'll be honest, I downloaded this demo expecting something to make fun of, but it's actually kind of fun. The 2 demo levels are short and sweet. All you have to do is get Tip Top from start to finish while collecting coins and trying not to fall off your bike. The bike controls pretty well. Rotating in the air feels a little off at first, but you get used to it. The better you do, the more trophies you get at the end of a stage, which adds a decent amount of replayability. There wasn't much of a challenge in either level, but I found myself crashing on purpose anyway just to watch Tip Top's lifeless body flop around the stage. Is that normal? The presentation also stands up fairly well. It's clean and colorful, and the Toy Story setting is a nice mix-up for this type of game. The electronic background music does a good job of creating an upbeat vibe, even if it doesn't stand out too much. Sorry, Waterflame. Overall, Toy Stunt Bike Tip Top's Trials is not anything amazing, but I was pleasantly surprised. If you would have told me that this would end up being my favorite demo of the bunch, I wouldn't have believed you. I would also have questioned who you are and why you're in my house. If you're looking for a cheaper alternative to Trials Rising, maybe the Chimp Life is for you.
B-.
Even if I didn't end up buying it, Tip Top taught me a valuable lesson today. If you think something looks like garbage, it probably is. But sometimes a little monkey can go a long way. I hope this advice helps you out someday when you need it most. If you want to watch more videos with no clear posting schedule, you can subscribe. And commenting is nice too. Thanks for watching and see you next video.